Hey everybody, it's me again. I have not posted in a long time. I went through a hair color change, as you can see from my last videos. I'm trying to think of the topic I wanted to discuss. Oh yeah, well, I mean, there's really no topic today. Today is just gonna be blab. I want to start getting back into posting videos. I want to do one like once a week, probably Fridays. I'm going to post about my week, Monday through Friday. And weekends, I'm just going to keep to myself. Weekends are for me. But I will post here and there, Monday through Friday. Comment questions, comment whatever you want. I'm open to anything. I'm open to improvements. I'm open to helping someone, just whatever. So Sunday, January 14th, we had the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome / Marfan support group at Children's Hospital in Waltham, which it was a good meeting. I learned some things. It was my second meeting I've been to. The one before it got canceled because of snow, and the one before that was not what I would say like a typical meeting for them. It was like their anniversary, I think, so it was more of like a get-together type of deal. This meeting was good. I felt like I was educated a little bit more. I found out Jonathan Rodas, who's wonderful, who's doing everything for the EDS and Marfan community right now that he possibly can, and it's remarkable. But I went and I learned a little bit about mast cell activation syndrome, which I'm going to get tested for it. I have a GI appointment February 6th. It's my first GI appointment since I've seen my pediatrician at Mass General. Dr. Salvatore, he was great. I didn't really get what I needed from him because that was before I had a diagnosis with my EDS. I wasn't diagnosed yet. I wasn't diagnosed till I was 20, but I'm going to call it 21 because I got diagnosed 17 days before my birthday. So I'm going to say I got diagnosed at the age of 21. And so when I had seen my GI doctor, I come in with symptoms of just can't gain weight, nauseous, vomiting, bloating. I get constipated sometimes. I can't eat a lot in one sitting. My stomach just feels so disgusting. It's just every time I eat, I would just be nauseous. It's hard to enjoy a meal anymore, but I've gotten good about eating constantly throughout the day. I've always been good at that. That's something I've always been good at. But people, when I was younger, people saw that as an issue because that's just how I learned. Like, I learned to work around my stomach issues. I didn't know I had learned to work with my stomach issues. I just eventually adapted. Because when I was a child, I would just graze throughout the day, and that was no big deal until I wasn't gaining weight, and I was very thin. I don't know how thin. Probably about what I am now. I was so thin. And I feel like a lot of it also goes with my state of mind too. With the depression, I lose more weight, obviously, because when I'm depressed, I just typically stay in bed and do not leave my bed. But anyway, I'm losing thought process over here is not the best. Very brain foggy right now. Oh yeah, oh yeah, I was getting to the GI stuff. Okay, so I grazed throughout the day, and that worked for me, but it didn't work for other people. People thought that it was an issue. So when I was seeing my GI doctor, you know, we were doing everything we could to work out stuff. At this point, I think I saw a psychiatrist, because not just my GI doctor, I've worked with many other doctors before this. It's just GI is one of my big issues right now, is the weight and just being so malnourished. So I want to just discuss this. We'll keep it simple. So I wasn't gaining weight. I was able to keep weight on, I think, at least, but I just wasn't gaining weight, and that wasn't okay for everyone around me. Everyone around me was, you know, thinking I'm anorexic. Not the case. Not the case at all. So I saw a psychiatrist for my depression, because I was depressed, and that's probably what caused this this to happen. Yeah, I probably did end up losing some weight, because it makes sense. If I was depressed, I saw my psychiatrist, so I probably was even thinner. So I saw my psychiatrist, and I thought things were going well with her. She was really lovely. I really enjoyed speaking with her. And then I got blindsided one day. I was told that I needed to go to an eating disorder hospital. So I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go. What are you talking about? I don't have a problem with an eating disorder. I'm sick. I have something else wrong with me that is making me not, like, I can't eat. Like, it's making me do this. Like, because I love food. You're talking to a girl who just loves eating everything. Like, I watch Anthony Bourdain. Oh, no, not Anthony Bourdain. What's his name? Andrew Zimmern in Bizarre Foods. I wanted to be on that show. I wanted to just go around and travel and try everything I possibly could, you know, experience every flavor in the world. But that ain't gonna happen. So I didn't have a problem with wanting to gain weight. I wanted to gain weight. I still want to gain weight. I want to be healthy, so I was just trying to explain to them, but it's so hard trying to explain to them once they've already made up a decision that you're mentally ill and doing this to yourself. So they diagnosed me as anorexic. I've had people ask me on Facebook if they had diagnosed me with anorexia or anorexia nervosa. I do not remember. This was a while ago. I'm trying to just forget about that part of my life because that was awful. There's nothing worse than a diagnosis you don't agree with and you know is wrong, basically. And I was young. I couldn't stand up for myself. I couldn't defend myself. This was before I was diagnosed with EDS, so nobody knew. People thought I was just losing weight on purpose. So I end up going to the eating disorder hospital, and it was probably the most traumatizing experience I've had in my life. I'm not going to cry about it because it's going to be on YouTube. But I got there, and it was fine at first. Everything was great. Everything was wonderful. I forget which hospital I went to. I went, oh gosh, I can't remember. Yeah, I think I just choose not to remember that part. But it was fine. Everything was fine. I they, you know, they started me off with small meals. And that was okay. I mean, I was actually hungry after the first meal they had served me, because it was just I think it was like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and like a glass of water. Please. I look small. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich for dinner? Are you kidding me? Give me fucking like a chicken breast. Sorry, I'll watch my language. But give me a chicken breast or like a piece of steak or something. I just needed food. I was hungry. But no, their meal plan said that it needed to be like specific foods until they can up me to the next meal plan or whatever. They had a whole system. But so everything started off fine. I was completing 100% of my meals. I was doing what was asked of me there. I even was doing the therapy sessions there. Okay? So I was giving 100% effort even though I knew I shouldn't have been in there. Okay? So I'm trying to remember if I was released. I ended up having to go back a second time. I'm just trying to remember what happened before I was released the first time. I was released, I don't know, we'll just skip. So everything went fine. I did fine. I was released. I honestly don't believe I had put on much weight in the hospital. Yeah, I really don't think I did. I don't think I made much progress in there. I think they just released me from my therapy sessions because I don't have an eating disorder. But, so anyway, I ended up going back because I had lost some weight again. Not my fault, you know? Some people just have good weeks and bad weeks. Sometimes my stomach can not work well for a whole week at a time. And if it doesn't work well for a whole week at a time, I'm obviously not going to be putting on weight if I can't eat. So I'm going to be losing. So I lost weight. They sent me back. I had to go back kicking and screaming, basically. I was so traumatized because it felt like I was being force-fed, which for someone who has stomach issues is not a good feeling. Some people with Ehlers-Danlos will have mast cell activation syndrome, which can cause like inflammation in the stomach area, I believe. So it can cause nausea and all this other stuff. So people with that will understand my feeling. People with gastroparesis will understand my feeling being force-fed. You can't eat like just as much as you possibly can, because if you do, you're going to be super sick. So the whole time I was there, I was just so sick. I felt so disgusting. I just felt like I was a pig, like getting ready for slaughter. I was just being force-fed, like just they're like trying to plump me up so that they can like kill me. As cryptic as that sounds. I mean, honestly, this is my experience just because I don't have an eating disorder, so my whole experience was negative. There have been some people who I've still in contact with that have left there and are wonderful. They have improved so much. I was so happy to see one of my friends. Like, she posts on Instagram all the time. I'm like, wow, she looks wonderful. She did like a before and after picture. She's like, I'm not my eating disorder or something like that. And she was so thin, just being from literally just cheekbones, like just bones everywhere, to being like a freaking model. She's wonderful. So her experience may be different. Everyone has a different experience. But for speaking as someone who has really, really bad stomach issues, gets the wrong diagnosis of being anorexic, gets forcibly shipped off to an eating disorder clinic, not once but twice. You know, that whole thing was just negative, just a negative part of my life. So, yeah, so I got sent back, and this time I was not cooperative. I didn't want to partake in anything because I had done this once. I had gone through. I have done my share. But they sent me back regardless anyway. So I get back. I don't leave my room in that hospital. I refuse to do any therapy sessions. I refuse to partake in anything except the meals, obviously. And then because I refused to take part in the therapy, they shipped me off to a locked facility. Because I didn't want to do group therapies with them, they moved me to a locked down facility. I'm just repeating myself so that people understand that just because I didn't want to participate, they locked me up, basically. They put me into a higher level program, which personally I think is backwards. If I was thinner than what I was, if I was dangerously, like, skinny, I would understand. Maybe they would ship me off to something, like, more, like, but no, it's because I didn't want to participate in their activities, so they moved me to a higher level facility. So I get there. I'm probably in tears. I'm a very emotional person. I believe it was my dad who dropped me off because I didn't want to speak to my mother. Because my mother was the one who had put me in these places. No matter what I would tell her, you know, she just didn't want to believe me. She didn't want to hear it. So I get shipped off to this locked facility. I get there, everything's fine. I'm still not I'm not partaking in the activities. I refuse to do any of that. I'm still eating what's required of me, except they upped my meal plan so much, actually, when I got there. I couldn't finish my meals at one point because there was just so much food. They were making me eat a meal, and then on top of that they were making me, like, eat other snacks and it just doesn't work for me. That's all. I just cannot eat huge servings at a time. I can eat constantly throughout the day and still ingest the amount of food I need, or the amount of food I would eat as if I ate 3 meals. You know, I eat it all day instead of 3 square meals. So I stopped being able to finish my food. Now this is Christmas time, actually. Christmas time, or right before Christmas time. I had an agreement that I would get a pass to see my family on Christmas for 2 days. I had a 2-day pass per my therapist in there because I did have a one-on-one session. I did agree to a one-on-one with a therapist there, and they recommended that I have a 2-day pass to see my family because I get very, very depressed. You know, especially when you're forcibly locked up and kept away from your friends and family. You just get depressed. So I was terribly depressed. I so depressed that the therapist actually let me leave the lockdown unit to see my family for Christmas. Now, the day before I had my pass for the first day, I was not able to finish my dinner or lunch. I don't remember which one it was, one or the other. And so they typically make you have a supplement shake after, which is fine. My stomach does not handle, like, those supplement drinks well at all. some reason. I'm trying to remember. Ensure, it doesn't like, I can't drink, you know, just any along those lines of Ensure or Pedialyte or whatever. I cannot. My stomach just will throw it right back up. So they had given me an Ensure, and I had explained to them, I was like, this is going to make me sick. I'm probably going to throw up if I finish this. But they wouldn't let me leave the table until I finished that drink. So I gave them full warning. I told them, like, how sick I would get. So, as I had told them, I ended up throwing up. The nurses had to watch me throw up because they had to make sure I wasn't doing it myself, which I was not. I was just sick from the Ensure I had just forcibly, you know, drank. So I lost my pass because I had thrown up. Because of something I had told them was going to make me throw up. I knew I was going to be sick from this. I had told them I was going to be sick from this. Nothing I did to make myself sick from this. And they had the nerve to take away one of my day passes. So I missed my family Christmas party, which was very upsetting for me because I love my family. So after that, I mean, I tried arguing with them. I tried, and with it being Christmas time, basically, the therapist wasn't around. You know, I was like arguing with a wall. Nobody would listen to what I had said. They were more pissed at me that I'd thrown up, which is backwards, you know. I had warned you that I was going to be sick from this drink, and yet you made me drink it anyway. And then you punish me for something I had no control of. Backwards way of thinking. You know, if I had done it on purpose, that would work. You know, punish me if I had made myself thrown up on purpose. But don't punish me for something I have no control of. That's all. So after that, luckily, Christmas Day, I was able to have my second pass, which was good. I got to see my family, but it was the worst feeling knowing I had to go back. So I had Christmas with my family. Everything was well. I ate food. I saw everyone I needed to, and then I got shipped back. I go back. A couple days later, I got sat down by some of the staff there, and they had explained to me that though I was gaining weight, yes, they said though I was gaining weight, I was not gaining weight at the rate they wanted me to. So they decided they were going to give me additional nutrition via feeding tube, the nasal, through the nose, not the port, which I said absolutely no way. No, I don't want a feeding tube. You said I'm gaining weight. Why would I need a feeding tube if I am actually increasing weight? Just because it's not at the rate they want. I think it's because they just wanted me to, like, plump up so they could ship me out. So, like, again, I was like a pig at a slaughterhouse. They were just trying to fatten me up and then ship me out. So I refused that. I straight up refused. I said, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to have that done to me. They called my dad in. And, I agreed because I'm not gonna put up a fight in front of my dad. So he was there when I was getting tubed. That was also very traumatic because I really didn't want it. And so it was the worst feeling. I just felt defeated. That's all. I felt like I'd been, defeated, and nobody would listen to me, and nobody was even thought I was trying, you know. So I had the feeding tube in. I don't know how long I had that in for. I had it until I left, actually. I had the feeding tube in until I was discharged. Which for me is strange, because wouldn't you want to wean off someone from a feeding tube to make sure they could hold the weight before discharging them? But anyway, I had the tube in until I was discharged. I was pulled out, I think, by my dad. I had been arguing with my parents to get me out of there. I told them I was just being tortured and it was awful, but so finally, I don't know who it was, my mom or dad, probably my dad. My dad got me out. So that was that. That was my GI experience. It wasn't even my GI doctor who had ruled me as anorexic. It was the psychiatrist, which I think was a load of garbage. But yeah, so I am having some anxieties about my GI appointment that's coming up, just because I do have that eating disorder on my record. People, my primary care, even though I have mentioned to him I do not have an eating disorder and I did not have an eating disorder, he still continues to ask me how am I doing with, like, my eating disorder, and I'm like, bro, I don't have one. But yeah, so yeah, that's why I'm nervous. I just want him to look past that eating disorder on my chart and the fact that I am now diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I'm hoping he will listen to what I have to say. You know, and so that we can both work together for a better solution. I'm going to mention getting tested. I'm not sure how I would get tested for mast cell activation syndrome, but I want to get tested for that. I also want to do another stomach emptying test, because I did have one done at MGH, and it showed that I did have a slow stomach emptying. So, I mean, regardless of that test, they still shipped me off to an eating disorder clinic anyway. They didn't take that result into consideration whatsoever. So I have this result of a slow stomach emptying, but nobody ever did anything about it. So I'm going to mention that again. I'm hoping he's going to want to run another one of those, because it was so long ago since the last time I had one done. I feel like my stomach has slowed down since I was a kid. So I just want to rule out those two things for my GI issues. POTS is another one. I want to somehow get ruled out for POTS. I'm not convinced I have POTS. Sometimes I do, but I just have low blood pressure. So it's hard to tell what are symptoms of my low blood pressure and what are symptoms of POTS. And then on top of my low blood pressure, I also have like palpitations too, so it's also hard to tell if that is POTS or just me. So I want to, those three things, I want to try to get those off my plate. I'm hoping I don't have POTS, but I'm not so sure about the mast cell activation syndrome. I feel like I could potentially have that to a minor extent, but I do notice my body reacts to certain foods in negative ways, and I'm wondering if it has something to do with that. And then there's the case of the stomach emptying test. I want to just make sure I don't have gastroparesis, but I'm also almost 100% sure I have that too. I mean, it's not good to just like self-diagnose, but I'm going to get it confirmed by a doctor, but I'm almost 100% sure I have gastroparesis. It just, you know, you feel it in your body, it's just a noticeable feeling. That's that heaviness in your stomach and things not moving. So I'm hoping to get those either ruled out or ruled in. At least we'll have more answers that way, and will help me work on getting healthier. Now, I'm also going to mention feeding tubes this time. See, I'm doing feeding tubes willingly now. You don't need to force feed someone. I'm too thin. I don't look it from right here. I am 85 pounds. I want to say a year ago now, I was 100. When it's crazy. I remember around the time my stomach just stopped working, and it was caused by my depression. I lost 2 very dear friends. I lost one February, and then I lost one in March. And yeah, so my depression was really, really bad. So I think I went a week straight without eating. It felt like, no, that's not true. I didn't go a week straight without eating. I probably went 3 days without eating. So that shrunk my stomach down significantly. And I just haven't recovered from that yet. I cannot stretch my stomach out because every time I try to ingest more, I just get so sick. I screwed myself. My depression just screwed myself because I was a solid 100 pounds. It's still thin. I wanted to be 110 for someone my height. I'm 5'3". I gained an inch this year. Or 2017, I gained an inch. And so I lost 15 pounds in a year and grew an inch. And so because of how small my stomach shrunk, I have yet to be able to stretch it out again. And that is affecting my calorie intake. I am not getting enough calories throughout my day now, even grazing. And if I do sit down and have a big meal, I just get super sick, so that doesn't work for me. Nor do I want to feel super sick, so I keep in mind, oh my gosh, don't overeat because you're going to feel disgusting. So I'm going to discuss feeding tube with him. I'm willing to try both types. I'll try the nasal one again. I'm not a fan of it just because of the one I had forcibly placed in me. It gives me some anxieties. But I'm desperate to put on weight at this point. I feel myself being sicker than I am because of my weight. My health is worse off because of my weight. Because I went from being healthier, I was still having the dislocations and all the other the symptoms that go along with hypermobility, EDS. But when I lost the weight is when I noticed, is when I noticed how much crappier I actually felt. I'm tired more. I feel weak. I feel malnourished, if that makes sense. I can just feel my body just struggling for energy and struggling for what it needs to survive. So I'm going to talk to him about feeding tubes as well. I asked this wonderful young girl, Christina Doherty, I believe is her name. I'll have to double check. Christina Doherty. She has her own YouTube channel. She's wonderful. She has so many informational videos, and she's great. So I talked to her about, like, at what point did she decide she needed the feeding tube, and it went along with many other issues that she had going on. So I was like thinking, oh, I probably don't need a feeding tube then, you know. There's people who really didn't have any other options at that point, then, like, they were super sick. I'm like, I'm not super sick. I'm, like, thin and malnourished, but I am not starving yet. So I was like, maybe I don't need a feeding tube. Then she says, oh gosh, I want to remember word for word what she said, which is in my phone, which I'm recording off of. I don't think I can do anything about it. But, so I'll summarize, I guess. She says, it won't hurt. It will it would just be better that way, you know, because when she got hers, she just felt better. She felt better after she got it in. You know, she doesn't have to worry about getting enough food intake in, because she can just give herself the nutrition she needs through the port. And I really would love to feel, I was going to say, like, feel safe that way. Because what if I go through another week where I can't eat anything and I feel sick? I can't afford to lose another, like, 15 pounds. I would be dead. So it would just be great if I could have that as a backup, you know, and I could just pump myself full of nutrition whenever I needed to. I just want to get back to how much I weighed, and then more. I want to put on more. So yeah. So that was my experience with eating disorder hospitals. I still feel like I was wrongly diagnosed. I still feel like I should have pursued something, but I was a child. I didn't know better. I couldn't have a voice for myself because I was a child, which I find also very, very wrong. Because I was old enough to make decisions for myself at that point. I think I was at least 16 years old, if not 17 or 18. No, I was 16. I had to be 16. Yep, because I missed my sweet 16. I was hospitalized November through December, basically. I had lost 2 or 3 months of my life that year. But yeah, that was my experience. I hope I never have to have that experience again. I'm hoping my GI doctor won't question me about eating disorders. I really just want him to trust me when I say I do not have an eating disorder. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It's different. You know, I want someone to listen. I want just the right diagnosis. I want the right diagnosis, which every patient wants. They want the correct diagnosis. They want results. They want, you know, progress being made. When I was a kid, progress was not made for my GI issues. If anything, I'd been brought down. I was like here and now I was there. I'd lost progress. But anyway, it's in my past. And that's that. So I'm going to keep up with this. Hopefully once a week. I will post videos Friday, so I'll probably post another one Friday. I have a Facebook, I have an Instagram, I have a Snapchat. I mean, I have all social media platforms, basically. I will leave some of my information below. I can give you my email, too. Just because I really, really do want this to start getting out to people. I want to spread awareness. I'm determined on this. So I'm probably going to even post this on my Facebook reluctantly. I don't want everyone seeing this. I don't want everyone knowing my personal life, but I do want to spread awareness. So I'm going to show everyone I know, basically, the real me. And I haven't done that yet, actually. I have not shown the real me. And the real me is so sick. And nobody even knows, which is the most frustrating part of it all, I think. You know, you can have a really, really bad day. Like, today, I'm actually kind of having a rough day. I'm just dreading getting out of bed. I have a therapy appointment, which I really, really need. I haven't seen a therapist in quite a few months. Actually, it's been probably about a year now. So, I have anxieties about that. I have my joint pain. So at least I scheduled my therapy appointment later on in the day so that hopefully I can get my wits about me and medicate, and then I can clean off my car because it's snowing outside and I have no one to help clean my car off. So that's probably going to take like an hour because me and the cold do not mix. My Raynaud's is quite severe, I feel personally. The moment I'm outside, it can be for 5 minutes. My fingers and toes will just lose feeling, and then all of a sudden I'll just have such excruciating pain because then they'll start to swell. So I cannot be outside for long periods at a time. So cleaning my car is probably going to be really difficult today. So I'm dreading that. But yes, this is the real me. The real me is not healthy. The real me has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And that's just the reality of my life. My life has always been a step-by-step. I would have to take each day step-by-step. I have to be careful how I get out of bed. I have to be careful how I use the bathroom. Showering, I have to be careful when I shave because I gotta make sure when I balance on one leg to shave the other leg. I don't dislocate my knee. I almost dislocated my knee last night because I lost my balance. Just little things like that, I got really lucky. I didn't dislocate it though. I came so close, so close. So close to the point where I could probably call it a subluxation, but I won't. So, yeah, I have to think about every movement I make. I have to remember to eat. I have to medicate. I don't take medications. I use medical marijuana. And so, which I love. I love using medical marijuana. It helps significantly, but in order for it to help, I feel like I have to use it all the time. So, I medicate constantly, and I actually didn't smoke yet today, but I'm definitely going to because I'm in quite a bit of pain, and I think it's from sitting like this. I'm sitting crisscross applesauce. Well, not really, because if I did, my knees would pop out, but I'm partially there. So, yeah, it's a lot of work. It really is. People don't think about it, but I'm hoping with my weekly vlogs, people will realize. And then there's Christina Doherty's videos are out there too, so she's getting the word out at least. And I'm just hoping I can get mine out. So I'm going to probably be posting this on my Facebook, which I'm super scared about. So anyway, it's been 45 minutes now. I'm going to sign off. So I hope everybody has a great snow day, and I will post Friday if I remember. I'm going to post all of my further contact information in my bio. So, everybody have a great day and drive safe and stay warm. Bye.